In what year did Subway introduce the V-cut for their bread?
What?
I cut the V-cut in the 90s.
Well,
Yeah, this is the last question. All
this
bets
is
are
the
off.
last
All
question.
bets are off.
All bets are off.
I mean, in the 2010s. I did.
Delicious, tasty, meaty, turkey-filled, cold-cut combo. I eat 3 every day to help keep me strong. Talk about a hole-in-one.
Subway sandwiches will drive away your hunger.
Welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the iKnowBadeaux podcast, coming at you from the Slice on Oak Studios. I'm Mayor Dave Badeaux of the city of Brainerd, and with me, as always, is my brother.
This is the only time I get to see anyone.
Wait, that was weird. But anyways,
You have to drop on that.
Yeah, we're going to absolutely cover that one up. Gabriel Johnson, how are you?
Dave,
Yes.
I've been a lifelong fan
Okay.
of the Minnesota Golden Gophers football team.
No, you haven't. Continue.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter.
But
I have hoped my entire life that they would be invited down to the Rose Bowl
yes,
and that they would win.
yes,
And this weekend, it happened.
yes, it did.
It happened. We went down to the Rose Bowl and we won a football game.
Yes, we did.
It is time to celebrate.
We tried very hard not to win a football game, but we won.
But we won.
We were down celebrating Tim Severson's birthday, and
He's actually a Gophers fan.
and we were watching that game, and it was a very sweaty birthday for Tim. Congratulations, Tim, and to the Gophers. Should we go ahead and get started?
Yes.
Everyone knows what time it is.
Game time. Who?
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, typically when we play a game, we have a guest on. But this week I thought, let's shuffle things up and let's just go head to head, Gabe versus Scott. This week's game is Chrono Trippin.
I knew it.
And now I told you guys that we were doing a different game.
I've been researching Hardee's all week.
And that's why I said we were doing a different game, because I know Gabe too flippin' well. I do have another game that we'll be doing next week. So we're going to have 2 weeks in a row of games. Next week will be Bill Satry, and we will be doing a new game. However, this week we are back to Chrono Tripping, which is one of my favorite games that we have on the podcast. The way that Chrono Tripping works is we pick a corporation, if you will, and then we go through their history, and one by one, chronologically, we talk about events or things that happened in their progression and talk about where they ended up. And you guys are going to guess what year those things happened.
I still think McDonald's fries are the best.
I had to go back because I thought for sure we did McDonald's. And I was like, we did McDonald's. Wasn't that the first one we did? And I had to go back and like try and find that episode. It was the first one we've done. So we have done McDonald's. We did Taco Bell. We've done Dairy Queen. We've done Wendy's. And I'm forgetting one as well. Pizza Hut. I think those are the 5 we've done so far. So, but the fun thing about this game is that you get a little bit of the history of these companies. We get to talk about some of the stuff we remember from the products as they've progressed. And in this case, we're talking about Subway.
You're dealing with the sandwich artist.
Now, one of us is a sandwich artist. Actually, I take it back. 2 of you are sandwich artists. One was Subway. One was Herbert and Gerbert.
Correct.
So you've got a leg up on the actual category. However, sniffing right at your heels is the Herbert and Gerbert guy.
Oh my God.
Again, how this will work is we'll set a date, and then every single question after that will follow. The year will be, in chronological order until we get to the very end. All bets are off, and we'll have the final question be any year of their entire existence. So
I'm surprised you remember that I worked at Herbert and Gerbert's. I barely remember that I worked at Herbert and Gerbert's.
I think at the time it was
like sandwiches.
I think it was the first time I had ever had Herbert and Gerbert's, and then because you didn't work at the one here locally.
No, this was in the cities.
Yeah. So it was about the same time that Herbert and Gerbert showed up here in town as well, and it was like just kind of that. Herbert and Gerbert is a very askew brand, right? It's just slightly off to the center a little bit of.
It's like right in between Subway and Jimmy John's.
Maybe.
I think that's a good description.
Yeah, but you named it Herbert and Gerbert, and it's about a book that someone wrote for their children about Herbert and Gerbert.
Yeah, they go on adventures and meet all these wacky characters, and all the sandwiches are named after.
Yeah, but you sell sandwiches.
Oh, the sandwiches are named after the characters in a book? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Herbert's and Gerbert's.
Thank you. It's fucking weird. It's weird. Like, I get it. All these places, when you go in, you get big giant words on the wall. But in this case, it was actual stories, and then it's like, oh, I'll have the Little Miss Piggy one. 3 little pigs.
Does that have ham on it?
Probably.
Well, see you later.
Anyways, in this case, we're talking about Subway. Before we get started super fast, Gabe, you, again, were a sandwich artist.
I was.
Still a big fan of Subway.
I ate there recently.
Okay. Doesn't sound like you're a huge fan of Subway anymore.
My kids play hockey.
Okay.
So when we leave the hockey rink in Brainerd, the nearest fast food restaurants are Wendy's, McDonald's, or Subway.
And Wendy's is a 45-minute ordeal now.
Or they have to slaughter the cow.
Yep. It's fresh. It's still mooing. But yeah, Subway is quick. It's I've never been a giant fan, but it is, you get exactly what you think you're getting. You know, it's the beauty of McDonald's. When you go to McDonald's, you get what you're ordering.
And you know what it is, because
Yes.
it's the same no matter which McDonald's
Yes.
you go to. It's the exact same thing. It's not great.
No.
It's maybe not even good.
It's maybe not even food.
Some
But
will
you
argue.
know what it is, and it's going to taste the same everywhere you go.
Yeah, so I was amazed to find out that Subway is still the number 2 brand worldwide and also in the U.S. So I had thought they had kind of fallen on some hard times, but they're still going strong as the number 2.
I thought they were number one. Is
They
McDonald's
were
number one?
McDonald's is back to number 1.
Okay.
So, but that still though, like Subway to me feels like from where they were when there were 4 of them in this town of 1,400
Jared
people.
started fucking kids.
It happens. So should we go ahead and get started?
Yes.
I don't want no burger. I sat down with the clown today. I want a fresh, delicious sandwich like the submarines that they serve at Subway.
The first question, as always, is what year did Subway start? And it's not multiple. It's not multiple choice.
1963.
1963 to Scott.
I'm going to say 1964.
Gabe says 1964, which is a pretty damn good guess because the correct answer is 1965.
Oh, man.
Oh, thank you, Scott.
You're welcome.
So we did an episode quite a few years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, where Gracie from our local sub shop, Mickey's Pizza and Subs.
Best sub shop in town.
Pizza. Oh, best sub shop.
Yes.
Sorry.
Got out here with that pizza take.
Scott has a pizza shop for those that don't know. But Gracie was here from Mickey's, and we did a whole episode on sandwiches, and so some of the questions were actually from Subway as well. And it was fun to go back and listen to that episode because there was a couple of fun facts that we threw in there. But one of the crazy things about Subway is it was actually started by a college freshman who was trying to make enough money for his tuition, and then it was funded by an actual doctor. So the college student's name was Fred DeLuca, and the doctor's name was Dr. Peter Buck, who was a nuclear physicist, and decided, I'll bankroll your sub shop, and the rest is freaking history.
Didn't have to build bombs anymore.
No. Well, I mean, maybe. I'm assuming he still did. But yeah, 1965 is when they opened it. And of course, it was not known as Subway at that time. It was Pete's Super Submarine Sandwiches.
Pete's Super Submarine Sandwiches.
Yes.
All right.
Which brings us to our next question. When did they rename from Pete's over to Subway? Gabe, you were the winner there. So we'll Gabe, you will go next.
I went second. I'll go first. Let's say 1971.
1971, over to Scott.
1970.
1970 coming just in underneath. 1968.
Oh, yes.
So Scott's going to get a point there as well. So Gabe 1 point, Scott 1 point. Yeah, the Subway name and calling it Subway happened in 1968, but it's an interesting story as well because the first Subway was in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and it was next to a place that was a manufacturer of subs. I don't know what you would actually call that.
Oh, a shipyard.
A shipyard. There you go. That's what you would call that.
I'd call it a shipyard.
Gabe, I was searching for it because I was like, the word port kept coming in my head, and dude, my wheels were spinning. Like, it's not a port. What is it? What do you call that? A shipyard. But yeah, it was an actual shipyard, and so the majority of people that came in to get these sandwiches were from that shipyard, and so that's how they became known as submarine sandwiches. So I don't know if it is this particular sub sandwich shop that was the one that invented that term, but that area and that specific thing is why. I would assume if you were a college freshman and you decided to make a sandwich shop, it was because someone else probably was doing it. But maybe this is the first ever.
Yeah, but he created Pete's submarine sandwich. He didn't create Subway.
No, well, he did create Subway.
He did eventually.
Well, it was renamed. I mean, what else do you want from Subway other than to be created and then named? What else does it take?
Those are two steps that need to be done.
Surprised you didn't know that.
All right. In what year did Subway open its first franchise?
77.
1976.
This is a strange game with only two people.
It's a really strange game with only two people. Is it higher or lower? It is 1974. The person that goes second has a lot of extra oomph in this game. Yeah, the first franchise was in Willingford, Connecticut. So just a Connecticut game over there for the Subway. And of course, that was opened in 1974. I always think it's interesting when you start talking about franchises because, when you look at like McDonald's, right? It was the McDonald brothers, and then another guy came in and was like, "Holy crap, we can
stole
make this.
The name.
Yeah, we can make this work and make it a big deal."
Yep.
But franchises is so interesting where somebody clearly comes around, looks around. I could make this work as well, and then asks to open their own as well. I just think that's such a weird thing within the U.S. type mentality, right? It's a very capitalistic thing.
Yeah, I want a piece of that action.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll pay you to use your system to make myself money.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm not saying it can't happen elsewhere, and it does happen elsewhere. There are franchises that start in other countries.
Yeah,
but it's just...
What came out of Soviet Russia?
Herbert and Gerbert's. I just think it's such an interesting way of manufacturing your business, right? Like you are successful and then someone else sees that you're successful, says, "Hey, I'll do that as well." And you can get a cut of it. And then from there, it just explodes. Like to go from that, like the humble beginnings of a college student wanting to have a sub shop to then being the number one brand in the world at some point is freaking crazy. Especially selling sandwiches. But such is the way.
Well, I ate there recently.
Okay.
And it was like $46 for people. 4 sandwiches is $46 now? What?
Yeah, isn't that crazy? And it's part of the reason why I stopped going there because it was always so dirt cheap. But once you start getting past like the $5 footlong, there are other options to eat sandwiches.
Yeah. You can go to Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's is pretty good.
Jersey Mike's is real good.
Is that the one you like?
Yeah. Yeah. After Mickey's, Jersey Mike's, they make a very acceptable Philly cheesesteak.
I think you said that. Well, they've got the griddle there, which is an interesting move. I think in terms of having a sandwich shop, it's kind of nice to have a griddle because then your options are endless. You could start making burgers and it would be no big deal, right? Some chopped cheeses.
Yeah, for sure.
I think they have a chopped cheese, don't they?
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't know.
I bet they do.
The local 218 does.
They do. The local 218. Shout out local 218. I was just with PJ this weekend. Yeah, they have a chopped cheese and it's very good.
Heard of it.
Very good. All right, Gabe, you are up 2-1 on Scott.
74 is where we left off.
Yes, 74. I think that's allowed in this game. So we just became a franchise, a national corporation. I wouldn't even call it. I would say you're a statewide corporation. But in what year did they become an international company?
When did they go from Connecticut to Canada?
Sure.
1978.
He says 1978.
1979.
Oh, sweeping just above on this one and being 100% correct.
All right.
1984.
That is not
It's not 100%. Not 100%, but correct. Yeah, 1984. And it says Bahrain? I'm not familiar with this place. Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Bahrain? Is that what we're talking about here? Is that right?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, like in Iran or
I don't
Syria.
wanna
or
find
Iraq.
out.
Yeah. It's a Middle Eastern
East,
city.
yeah. One of those.
Yeah. The Kingdom of Bahrain in the Persian Gulf.
Wow.
Again, weird.
Yeah, what the?
That's weird. You skipped Canada. You skipped Mexico.
Yeah, he said Canada. I was like, well, yeah,
Yeah.
it's not like they went to Germany.
Yeah, no.
No, they went to the Middle East.
Like, this is a good sandwich.
Oh, durka, durka, durka.
And do they have the cold cut combo? What do they got over there? That's crazy to me. Yeah, what a bizarre move. And maybe they had something in between, but according to my list here, that's what they had. So,
Well, it's maybe that Subway is what started the trend of the Middle East having all of the cool stuff.
could be.
Because like the United Arab Emirates
Sure.
build the tallest buildings and the coolest little island cities, and it all started because of Subway.
Yeah, went with from the foot long to the biggest towers ever. Well, yeah. So they skipped over Canada until what year? In what year did they open up a shop in Canada?
Oh boy.
1986.
Jesus, 86.
Oh, I hate that. That's a terrible
I couldn't go with 5.
No, I was hoping you would. I'm going 87.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have our first ever double points. Scott
Yes.
with 1986 for double points, putting you at a 4-2 advantage. Yeah, 2 years after going to the Persian Gulf from Connecticut. This isn't like we were in New Mexico and they were like, God, dude, we got quite a ways up there to Minnesota before we get to Canada. No, you were in Connecticut and it took you 2 years to get over Niagara Falls, essentially, to the Canada. In St. John's, of all places, which means nothing to me.
Me neither.
Oh,
Makes me think of the Newfies.
that's probably quite accurate.
What the hell's a Newfie?
Somebody from Newfoundland.
Ah. Well, that was anticlimactic.
They're like the retarded Canadians.
Oh, jeez.
The let's get it started Canadians.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
All right, we're just going to keep going here. If they made it to Canada in 1986 and they made it to the Persian Gulf in 1984, when did they make it to the UK?
1991.
1991. Over to Scott.
Oh, man. 1992.
Shoot.
Again, with just two people, this game becomes a higher or lower. The answer is 1996. Scott with another.
I knew it was much later, so I was trying to guess.
So we're just jumping around here. Persian Gulf, Canada, the UK, a decade later. That's why I put that one on there. I know we're very heavy into when did they open.
Yeah.
But still, that's crazy to me. Like for a company that, again, goes from Pete's Sub Shop
Yep.
by a freshman in college
With the nuclear physicist behind him.
Yes. And I wonder if that had anything to do with the next guy coming along being like, listen, I'm not a nuclear physicist. However, I think I can do this too.
I can make a sandwich.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to make another selection here because this was an interesting one.
Holy shit. That fly is...
Gabe's got a Zen in, and he is a hyper drawn into this fly. I'm amazed. It actually hasn't bugged me too much. There's a fly flying around in here, and it hasn't stopped. Like, I think that's the crazy thing is I don't think I've seen it land yet.
No.
But I'm amazed because typically those are the things that bug the shit out of me. We were watching a movie last night, and I don't even remember what it was called. It was, God, it had James Belushi. Okay, so
Blues Brothers.
No. So not Jim Belushi.
Well, James was Blues Brothers 2000.
Yeah. This movie was very clearly written for Bill Murray to the point where actually Callie's like, "Oh, he's so young," and I go, "That's not Bill Murray." Just like, oh, it looks just like Bill Murray. I was like, well, he's in Chicago. He's a Cubs fan. Like the whole movie is very much written for Bill Murray. It felt like. But there was a point where he goes to a door to unlock it, and my stupid ADD, like, I'm like, the key didn't fit the lock.
That key never fit in there.
Kelly goes, turn it back. And I go, I swear to God. So we turn it back, and here he goes to the lock. And the reason I noticed is because he did like a weird thing, like to try and hide it, and then put the key to the lock, and then just kind of like it never went in. The key never went. So the fly buzzing around, I can't imagine, or I can't believe that it's not bugging the shit out of me because I can't even watch a guy pretend to put keys in a door without going like, turn it back, rewind it quick.
See if that key actually made it.
And it did not. It 100% did not go into that lock.
I don't believe you.
All right. There's another brand that is American. Some would say is American as apple pie. That brand is Walmart. When did Subway begin opening stores inside Walmarts?
This is you.
This is me. Did we have a Subway in our Walmart?
We did
We
not.
had McDonald's and now Domino's.
Domino's.
Uh-huh.
I'm trying to think if I've ever even seen a Subway in a Walmart. I don't know. Anyways, 2001.
He says 2001. Gabe, higher or lower?
That's a good guess. I'm going to say, without any confidence whatsoever, higher.
He says higher. The correct year is 2004.
Okay.
Gabe Johnson, you
It's
are
a point.
getting a point, and we're getting closer here now. It is 3-5.
Well, I should have said an actual year to maybe get the double points.
Yeah.
I'd say 2004.
You were robbed.
So yeah, in 2004 they moved in, and I agree with you. I don't remember ever seeing a Subway inside a Walmart. I think I've seen them in Targets before, but I must be wrong about that. I thought
I've only seen Starbucks.
okay, yeah. It was weird to me that in my head the connection was with Target, but maybe I'm just misremembering, colors and quality of products surrounding me while looking at this in store. The problem to me with having the Subway in your department store is Subway smells. Do you not think that? I think it smells like vomit, personally.
Yeah, the yeast is not pleasant.
It's like a dead yeast. Like what? How did you get yeast to? Yeast smells good.
It's like a hospital room.
Yes. Yeah, and it's kind of funny when people started saying, like, well, that's the same stuff you put in yoga mats. And I was like, yeah, it smells like it. It smells like every time you're around a Subway, you can tell you're around a Subway because it doesn't smell like bread. You're baking bread. It should smell like bread. It should smell delicious. It doesn't smell delicious.
But as a sandwich artist, we didn't really bake bread. We got these
Frozen.
logs,
Yeah.
these frozen logs that we thaw out.
Yeah.
and then put it in the oven, and then it would turn into what we sold as bread.
Okay, I was going to say because that's
So you
how
would
baking bread is.
So you would put this dough in the oven and bake it?
How is a business created as well? Does it start and get named? Bread starts as dough and becomes an object?
But it doesn't have to be frozen.
Sure.
At Subway, it is.
Sure. But Domino's stuff comes in refrigerated trucks as well.
Yeah, well, they put more cheese than slice. I know it does. So
Okay. I will argue it's not bread as well, although it's not terrible.
Isn't there like a court case in like Ireland or something
yeah.
where they had to like legally define it as cake
Yeah.
or something like
it
that?
was not bread.
Yeah.
much sugar, probably,
So
yeah.
the sugar content was so high that they couldn't legally call it bread in wherever this was.
It's really weird to me because I don't think my bread needs that much sugar. I don't know. Like, do we just not notice it in there? And is that why people like it so much? Is it an addictive quality to it? Is that what it is?
As Americans, we have sugar in everything.
Yeah.
like McDonald's has sugar in every single one of their products,
Which is
like
so
massive
crazy.
amounts.
Yeah.
because we like to eat
Yeah,
sugar.
well, it's basically cocaine.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, it's just crazy to me that in other places of the world they'd be like, no, this is a donut, you goof, you know. Versus here, we're just like, yeah, that's just Subway. It smells like shit, but it's still just bread in quotations.
Bread product.
Bread product, yeah. But yeah, how does your yeast stink though? Because I actually, for whatever reason, like the smell of yeast. It smells like bread to me.
Yeah, it smells great.
Yeah, I think it
I
smells.
mean, I make pizza.
Yeah, it smells.
Yeah, you deal with
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll just open up the dough box, with the dough in there, and just stick my face in and
Yeah.
take a big breath.
And I'm weird too that I have actually said that sometimes I like a pizza dough that you can taste the yeast a little bit of. And I know not everybody does, but it's kind of like a sourdough type of thing to it. I kind of like that taste a little bit. It's not bitter. It's a unique flavor that is yeast. It's yeasty.
It's fermented.
Fermented, yes. But yeah, whatever it is that they do, just I've always hated the smell of Subway. And the idea that you then put it in your store where all your other products are, you know, you might as well
You
put
sell
it.
clothes.
Yes, and the clothes are right next to the front. The clothes are never by the tire center.
No, that's the very first section.
The first section is the clothes. So, anyways, hey, if they started in 2004, when did they actually take over as the number one thing inside Walmart stores? So you had said McDonald's. That was the number one inside Walmart's. When did they take over as the number one inside Walmart? U.S. locations.
I still don't get it. Like, why would you put any food store inside your department store?
I mean, they probably pay rent.
Yeah, they probably spread grease all over your products, especially with McDonald's. But when did they become number one?
Yes.
After 2004, I'm going to say 2000. When was Jared doing his thing?
Oh, Fatty Magoo?
I would say 2007.
I'm going to say 2008.
Gabe Johnson, you are a double point
Oh,
winner. 2007.
This is a game.
Ladies and
That's a
gentlemen, we
game.
are tied.
Okay.
Yeah, in 2007. So after 3 years, they just completely took over. And maybe it could have been as well that like McDonald's was just reducing their numbers as well. Because, yeah, you said now we've got a Domino's in there. And I've heard locally it's not a great decision in terms of, because it's tough, right? And I'll be completely honest with you, how embarrassing to be right there, because there's always a window. They've always got you sitting next to the carts. What's with the window? I want to hide. If I'm eating inside a Walmart, like put me in a cubicle by myself. Can we have a fake dumpster that I hide behind and eat
I can't get home from Walmart to feed myself. I need
I'm so hungry, and I'm in this Walmart that I must stop and consume at this table.
But Domino's makes a little bit of sense because I think they do a lot of delivery out of there.
Yeah, but it's not for us. It's not a great location for delivery either. So
I think we should have a Portillo's. That would be my choice.
okay.
Give me a nice Chicago dog, and I'll just Carry
Now
that.
hey, I'll
And
accept that.
I will
Yeah.
walk around the store eating that.
That's a great one, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's for Costco's money. Just
Yeah.
Go and buy a quarter-pound hot dog.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
do your
There you
shopping.
go.
And I don't feel that bad when I'm at Costco because they're smart. It's on the way out.
Yep.
Everyone sits down. You get a little embarrassed, but then you get the fuck out of there.
And there's no divider. There's just a little cafeteria area.
Yeah.
that you could sit down if you want, or you could walk out.
Yeah, and it's less shameful. It feels less shameful for some reason than the hey, I'm eating McDonald's in Walmart. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the goods here. When did Subway start the $5 footlongs?
It was after 2007, huh?
Doesn't feel like it would be. That's why the game is the way that it is.
I can tell you when they have $11 footlongs. So that's right now.
Oh, man.
He doesn't want to lose the lead here, does he?
I don't, and I don't know if you're playing a weird game,
We are playing a weird game.
but
I'll
you're
tell you what
playing
I
a
like.
weird game within it. What do you like, Gabe?
It's named
I
after-
like $5 footlongs.
Scott, your answer, please.
2008.
He says 2008. What a move.
That was my favorite. That was my choice.
Okay.
2009.
The correct answer for 2 points. 2008.
Okay.
If you would have went 2009, I would have went
That's
2008.
exactly
Yeah.
that's exactly why I was so happy when I saw this, and that's kind of why I went with the last question. I was like, let's stack these together.
I thought maybe it would have stayed in 2007.
Yeah,
That's why.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying that if you're playing a weird game with us here.
Oh, yeah. You stay in the same year. Two things in the same year. Yeah.
yeah. The $5 footlong, one of the most successful campaigns in the history of fast food.
Yep. Since where's the beef?
Yep. And so people forget it's the dollar menu started with Burger King. Burger King was the first one that was at least nationally a dollar menu, and it was the double cheeseburger, right? Then McDonald's got in on it with the McDouble and the dollar menu, and that blew up. And then everyone,
McDonald's had a double cheeseburger at first.
but it wasn't a dollar.
It was
It had 2 slices of cheese.
It had 2 slices of cheese. It was probably 2008 that the double cheeseburger turned into the McDouble.
Yes, but before that though, Burger King started that whole thing. Burger King had the dollar double cheeseburger. Then McDonald's got in on the double cheeseburger, did the dollar menu, very successful. And then at this point, then everyone's like, well, how do we get in on this? And Subway's like, well, it can't be $1. So let's make it $5. And it was hugely successful because that's the right price for a sandwich. $5. Let's go all day long. All day long. What's your go-to $5 footlong? Was your go-to $5 footlong?
I haven't eaten at Subway in so goddamn long. I don't know. I would probably just get a Philly.
What was your go-to?
Whatever you did, give me that terrible meat and just cover it in American cheese.
And they're just so bad. They microwave it, it's chewy, and then they just drizzle
Oh,
some
they've
kind
got
of...
an oven in there now. They baked it for a bit.
I've never been a fan of the baked. I don't want the baked bread. I don't want the crispy
No, the
bread.
bread gets,
I don't want the crunch.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way to do, if your bread is griddled so that the outside is still soft and the inside has got that little bit of extra crunch to it before you go. I always liked, and I know this is weird, but I always liked the grilled chicken nonsense that they had.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because it wasn't.
Sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
It wasn't.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it wasn't real chicken, and it most certainly was not grilled. However, there was just something about it that I just liked. That texture of that
The
fake,
sugar in the sweet onion teriyaki.
probably. Ooh, this donut has more jizz on it.
I'll say my go-to, I don't know if it even was on the $5 menu, but my go-to for years and years was the Seafood Delight.
You said
Oh,
that.
yeah.
And they don't have
And
it
they
anymore.
fucking canceled it in 2018, and I fucking hated them ever since. I still order it every time I go there. I'll have a Seafood Delight. Oh, we don't have that, sir. Fine, I'll have the sweet onion chicken teriyaki.
All right, let's keep moving here. Breakfast. What year?
You're up.
Oh, this is an insane question because I worked there in 1998 and we had breakfast.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes, I served a breakfast.
Not an actual breakfast.
No, we had eggs and bacon and sausage
On what? Like on just a regular sub?
on a sub.
Yeah, but then this is like, when did they dole out breakfast? Like they doled out breakfast because breakfast became the new thing. This isn't, could
I
you
don't
get...
agree with the premise of your question.
Then, all right. Stricken from the record.
no,
Hold on.
hold on.
Stricken from the record then.
Are you telling me that you would put eggs on
Yeah.
a fucking sub sandwich?
I think he's full of shit. I think he's full of shit.
Yeah, you would do a quarter instead of half.
Okay. Okay. We can strike this one from the record.
No, well, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. When does Dave think Subway started?
When does the internet think that everyone else was doing breakfast, so therefore Subway tried and failed, might add, at breakfast?
Where are we at? 2007?
We're at 2008.
Yeah. 1996.
Scott, when do you
No,
think
I'm
it
going to
is?
say 2011.
Okay. Scott.
I was thinking 2012.
Okay. The correct answer is 2010. According to this, we'll give you a point, Gabe, for serving breakfast in 96.
I had to work at 6 o'clock in the fucking morning. That's a high schooler.
All right. You get a point either way. All right, let's go with this now. Do you guys remember the Flatizza?
Kinda.
When did the Flatizza get introduced? And Scott, you're up.
2015.
It says 2015. Over to Gabriel Johnson.
You can't have too many more questions left.
I've got-
I'm going to go 2016.
Okay, 2016. The correct answer is 2014.
Okay.
So Scott takes another point there. I've only got 2 questions. So this one's just for fun and then winner takes all. In what year did Subway decide, hey, maybe this Jared thing isn't a great idea?
That was well before 2016. It
In
was
what-
when he was raping kids.
In what year did they officially stop the Jared campaign?
It was after 2014? That doesn't seem accurate.
It does not.
I
Go
can
ahead,
only...
Scott, it's your guess.
We have said this from the beginning of our podcast. Every answer we say could be wrong. It is what I have in front of me as the answer for when they stopped the Jared campaign.
2016.
2016, he says. Gabriel Johnson.
I'm going to say 2014.
The correct answer is 2015.
It's a half a point.
It didn't start until 2000, which I thought was crazy. I thought it was in the 90s, but I guess 2000 in, my math.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's the 90s up until 2003 or
That's
something.
97. Yeah, 2000 is 97. But yeah, in 2015, which I think was a little bit into the investigation. I don't think they parted ways immediately. Maybe they did. But it wasn't until there was an FBI investigation that they actually quit the campaign.
Was it seriously only that long ago? It feels like it was like 15 years ago.
That's 10 years.
Yeah, he was arrested in 2015. And that's when they finally... So it was a 15-year campaign. So,
Wild.
yeah.
Did he have his own clothing brand in Walmart?
Yeah, it smelled like shit as well. All right, final question, boys.
Just children's sizes.
Gabe, yeah, Jesus.
Thank you.
No, they're big pants, so you could fit the kid in the pants. Gabriel Johnson, you have to go second on this. Because, Scott, you have more points. And this is for all the marbles. In what year did Subway introduce the V-cut for their bread?
Wow.
I cut the V-cut in the 90s.
Well,
Yeah, this is the last question. All
this
bets
is
are
the
off.
last
All
question.
bets are off.
All bets are off.
I mean, in the 2010s, I did.
1995.
He says 1995. Gabriel Johnson, you
I
can...
like that. I'm going to say 94.
The correct answer is 1965.
Oh, shoot.
They have always had the V cut, which is why
They
people
didn't properly cut a sandwich until like 2003.
That's why it ended up going to the Persian Gulf before it went to Canada. Canada was like, cut your fucking sandwich correctly and maybe we'll give you a shot. From the very beginning, they were doing the V cut of the sandwich, which is, it's crazy to me.
I'm still not totally sure visually what I'm. So you have a hoagie.
Yep. You lay it down because you can't pick it up and cut it.
Yeah.
And then you just do an angular cut on either side. Yeah.
And pick that
How
up.
how wide?
That was the problem.
I wasn't all that good at it.
Like you just turned it into a hot dog bun, like
Yep.
a giant hot dog bun.
Yeah. And then you just you stuffed all the meats in there, and then you put it on like a little cap,
Yeah.
and the meats were spilling
Down,
over.
wrap it up, and on your way.
I mean, it definitely looks more like a submarine.
I'll give you that. This is crazy to me. I read that and I was like, that's insane. It's the dumbest way to cut a sandwich. Sandwiches have been being
It's
cut.
not even a sandwich.
No, it's not.
a submarine.
I guess it's a boat. You've made a sandwich boat.
It would float.
And then I guess if you put a top on a boat, that's a submarine. I guess that's how we ended up with a goddamn submarine. But yeah, isn't that crazy? Because I remember it. And when they finally started cutting their sandwiches like normal human beings, because also you cut it.
They shot to number one.
Well, you cut it and you lay it down, and then the meats and everything get put on it, and then you fold it, and it's delicious. That's how you make a sandwich, right? There's the folding is part of the sandwich, right? The setting of a soup bowl down and
it's a bread
ladling.
bowl.
Yeah, it is.
It's a long bread bowl.
It's a long bread bowl, but there's a bit of a beauty of a good V cut.
The ham splayed out.
Yeah, you splay out the meat, you get some sauce on it.
With a mayo. Oh, man.
Extra mayo.
Oh man, a big goober right on the cheek when you're done. It amazes me. I couldn't figure out. I didn't see when they actually stopped doing the V cut. But I know people were upset because that was what Subway was. And to be fair,
And they were number one.
when you talk about Subway, it's because it's consistent, right? When you remove something you've been doing since the begining of time, that's crazy.
Since you repeat submarines.
Emporium.
Super subs. But it makes sense because you have to have consistency. If you fuck up the consistency of the cut down the middle, nobody notices. But when you end up
When it's just a little sliver of bread on top, it ain't good. Nobody's happy.
When you've got a bread G-string and that ham's flopping around, sign me out. So, all right, Scotty Pizza, you are the winner. Go ahead and say something to your fans.
Hello and congratulations.
There it is, folks. Hello and congratulations.
Pretty sure I got that question right.
Oh, wait a minute. Gabriel Johnson as the sandwich artist. Go ahead and say something to your fans.
Hello and congratulations.
Hey, there it is.
Man.
The helloing and the congratulations have been had.
So close.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I stopped listening as soon as you started talking. So. Crazy, a lot of fun. I love that you were a sandwich artist. I never did fast food. I was a Kirby Vacuums. That was my first job.
Yeah.
You worked at Domino's.
That was
I did work at Domino's. Yeah, for a very short amount
that
of
was
time.
a wild place to work at.
Yeah, the Kirby Vacuum. Oh, dude. Someday we'll talk about the stories of Kirby Vacuum. It was illegal. Like it was happening. Oh yeah. We were all.
Child rape is illegal.
Yeah, it was. It was wild. I won't say child. I won't. No,
It was consensual, but they were 16.
I will not stop.
What
Stop.
the hell is going on?
I will not put those allegations into the air, but I will say wild. You could write a documentary about the Kirby Vacuum in Brainerd, Minnesota in 2001. I'm not kidding. It was the fucking Wild West. Yeah.
Did they use the vacuums?
Jesus Christ. Hey, folks. Next week, we're going to have Bill Satry on. And I got a fun new game for that as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun with that. So Bill Satry will be back. And then I think we're going to do another news segment. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, sure.
So in 2 weeks, we're going to do news. Then we're going to get back into the 2005s. So you guys go ahead and shoot that stuff over to us. We'll have a draft in there somewhere as well. But thank you to the Boutros.
Yes.
Thank you to Gabe.
Row the boat.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Skyuma. And with that, we're done. No, it was wild. And I think, honestly, we should do like a full episode on it. However, I don't want to get arrested for like false. Not for anything I did, but I'm not kidding you. It was like I was 17. And
Like the boss was buying booze and stuff.
Yeah. And not just buying booze. Like we were partying at the house. So he had a Dodge Viper. So it was the guy that owned the company. It was his son, who was probably like 26 to 30, somewhere in that age. And it was just a bunch of 16, 17-year-olds, the girls and boys, and partying at his house.
Consensually.
Well, I'm not going to make any allegations about that, but I will say this. There was a time where
You won't even agree to consensual.
I have no idea what all I will say was that I never participated in anything that was illegal other than minor consumption. Mm-hmm. However, there was a point where he did we always had these contests. So if you sold a vacuum, you got
a blowjob.
Yeah, pretty much. You got your name in a hat, and then he would draw prizes. And then there was one day where we're drinking at his house, and he just goes, "Oh, what are your favorite alcohols?" And I'm a 17-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. So like I listed like Parrot Bay, like Captain Morgan, Parrot Bay. Like it was all these different,
Johnny Walker Blue.
Yeah. It was like Bacardi before I learned my lesson.
Yeah.
And then here we come to the store, and he has this new. This is true fucking story. The competition for selling a Kirby vacuum was to get in the hat to win bottles of booze. And we won bottles of booze in the fucking store. None of us, if there was anyone that was over the age of 21, there would be maybe one or two of them. So it was a bunch of kids.
And they're the creeps.
And they're the creeps, yeah. There was a bunch of kids winning bottles of booze because you went and sold a $2,000 vacuum. It was wild. And
it's a great incentive.
It worked. It worked very well. But I remember every bottle of booze he pulled out, it was like having a drunken flashback of like, wait a minute. And there's just me sitting at the counter telling him all the boozes that I like. It was fucking wild, dude. It was wild. And I mean, I now thinking back on it, like you're absolutely correct, Gabe. Holy shit. Call the cops. Call the cops immediately.